Hello my friends, LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. In this episode we're going to take a look at Harmonies. I'm going to show you how this game plays from a solo standpoint, and then I'll let you know what I think. Let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you have, thanks so much for that support. I really truly appreciate it. So it's a little bit tough to see because this is a 3D game where you can place on top of things, and in the way that this camera, it doesn't really give it justice, but what I will say is this game is all about building these types of structures, okay? See how this could be level 1, level 2, and level 3, and making it match the variety of different patterns that you see on the cards over here. And what you do on your turn is you must, and this is the solo game now, solo game, you must take one of those 3 offers over here and discard the other 2. You must place all 3 of the tokens that you take, and then you have the option to take any one of these available scoring cards right here and put it in one of your 4 areas that you're working on. If you complete an area, you can set the card aside. I've already completed my spirit power earlier on in the game, and so it's set aside now, but it does take one of my slots until I do that. And if you don't complete them, fine, no big deal, but it does take a slot, okay? Now, each of these scoring cards will have a certain number of spaces on it, and when you take the card, you will fill it with the number of cubes that you have. And basically, as you place the cubes down, that will tell you how many points you get at the end of the game. So if the game were to end right now, I get 5 points for this card, 6 for this, 4 for this, and then a special condition I'll tell you about there in a little bit. But you're right, your goal is to try to make these patterns happen more often so that you can score more animal points and discard the cards and get more things. You also score for all of the different landscape features that you make, so to speak. So if you have a level 1 tree, a 2, or a 3, you'll get 1, 3, or 7 points. However, if you just have 2 of these, let's just call them tree trunk stacks, stacked up 1 or 2, it doesn't matter, you get 0. The mountain ranges will be worth 1, 3, or 7, as long as they're arranged and connected. If it's by itself, it's not worth any points. Same thing with the farms. They have to be clustered. You get 5 points for each cluster of farms that you have, okay? But if they're not if they're separated, you don't get that. And then we'll call these the towns. These structures here, they have to be adjacent to 3 other colors to score 5 points. Otherwise, they're nothing. So for instance, this one, I put it over here because I kind of needed to discard it. So it's not gonna be worth anything because it's only adjacent to 2 other colors. But I didn't want to mess with the patterns I was doing, but I had to take it I had to place it based on what I took, okay? And so it's really pretty simple from a scoring standpoint. The final thing, it depends on whether you're playing on the island space like I am, or if you flip the board over and you're playing and making this a river. If it's on the other side, it's the basically like the longest chain with no double counting of your rivers will give you a specific amount of points. And here you're trying to carve up your island with this river. So right now I've got a little island here, I've got a little island here, I've got one little island here, and then a big island over there. So I'm gonna get a lot of points probably for that at the end of the game. So that is the puzzle you're trying to solve. You're trying to basically do your best to score the most you can, and you're trying to do it in a way that will net you the most landscape points and the most animal points. And if you're playing with a spirit, in this case, this spirit will give me 2 points per water token that I've placed on the board. And all you have to do is basically activate this spirit. And I activated it here where I have 2 rocks, 1 and 1, and then I put the cube there. All right, let me go ahead and show you a couple of turns. Now, by the way, the solo mode is you're just playing it to get a high score, but it does a good job, let's see, like leveling the scores out based on the kind of options you take. So if you don't play with the spirit, you get an extra bonus. If you play on face, the A face, you get an extra bonus. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the most suns, and that's kind of like your rank, okay? So you're gonna take the score that you got. It's gonna be, let's say you scored 90 points. That's worth 3 suns. Let's say, in my case, I'm playing with this spirit type right here, so I'm not gonna get any nature spirit additional suns for it, and I'm playing with bees. So basically, it's just gonna be high score. Because the way this configuration is, it will allow me to score higher points than if I played with no spirit and with no face. So I do like how they do that. That's cool. All right, the other thing that you can do only in the solo game is that if you didn't take one of these animal cards, you can discard it and flip over another one so that you get some card churn, and that's good. I like that. Otherwise, it would be a little tough to see a lot of the deck. Okay, so let's see what we're doing here. So what I'm trying to do is score these types of things, and I haven't really found a scoring type that I love for the mountain type or like the structure type. Okay, so I'm still kind of don't have those, but I do have a lot of water ones, which is good because I get a lot of points for the water tokens themselves. All right, so if I look at what I'm trying to do, I would love to finish up some of these cards here. And in order to do that, I need some more yellow and I need some more water. I don't really have a good combination over there. This one, if I could play 2 more water, I could put another one and it would finish that. And then this one, I can almost score this. In fact, I can score it as long as I get one of them that has a tree on it. And I like that. So what I think I'm going to do, I already told you this is a throwaway spot. So I'm going to treat it as such. I'm going to take this section here. I will put the tree up here. And then what that does is that makes this pattern. This pattern can be inverted. So it's 2 waters and a tall tree. So that will put one of those out there, getting me to the 11 marker. This structure could just stack on there. It's not going to give me any points, but it's kind of a throwaway. But what I want to do with this is I want to put this over here because I want to take this scoring card right here and I'm going to fill it with cubes. And then I have this configuration right now. So I can take this first one, put it down like that. All right. And then that's my turn. Now, if I can make any other card combinations, I can still do that. You're only allowed to take 1 scoring card per turn, but you can put as many cubes down as you want. Now, in the solo game, it really doesn't matter because each turn you just take another one. There's no competition for it. Okay, and then these get discarded. And then I draw again. So we have 3 here, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 here. Now the game ends when either you exhaust the bag of tokens or when you have 2 or fewer spots left on your board. And why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because depending on how much you stack up, you can extend the game. If you are building on a single level only, the game's going to go relatively quickly. But if you start to stack things on a 2nd or a 3rd level, then that can help you extend the game, score more points, and be more, competitive, so to speak. All right, so the next move here, what did I say I wanted to do? Well, if I could find a way to put these 2 down, I could place this one, and I can. I like this idea right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this. I'll put this and this down, which then allows that configuration right here. Boom. All right. And now this card can come out of my scoring area. I'm going to set it aside over here, and that frees up a spot. Then I want to build this higher because a level 3 mountain will give me a basically 7 points instead of the 3 points. But I could also, as a matter of fact, I think I will do this instead. Instead of putting it here, I could put it over here. That would make this configuration again, and it allows me to score that guy. So that's a better move. Now, do I like any of these cards out here? There's no penalty for not finishing a card, but the real question is, do I like any of them? I don't think so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard this one in the hopes of just trying to get one that might be luckier for me. Not really. Oh, well. Okay. So I wipe these and I keep going. So you're going to keep going again until you finish up your island. And I'm pretty close to being done here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and we need 1 more. All right. So I could start to, let's see. I could almost try to get this peacock one right now. And let's do that. Let's do this. So I'm going to take these. I could take the peacock card, fill it up. And what I'm seeing here is if I put this water like this, and I put these 2 on top of this like this, I've effectively used that shape as such, and I can place it here. And if I get lucky enough to get something in another red next turn, I could put it go in the opposite way right there, because you can reuse pieces and parts of the tiles or the little tokens you put down, as long as you're not allowed to put a token on something that has an animal already, which is what this cube represents. And you're never allowed to move anything else. So you can kind of reuse that. So I'm going to take advantage. Maybe I'll get lucky. Now I got probably one more turn. So let's go ahead and see if I get lucky on this last pull here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Not looking good. And 1, 2. Oh, come on. It's not a water. Oh. All right. So what I can do is I can stall. So what I'll do is I'll take these two. I'll put this here. That won't help me anyway. But at least I get these points for that. That'll at least make those bigger. The reason I was hoping to stall is because if I could get a red one, then I could do that. But now I've triggered the end of the game. And I don't know if that's the best thing to do, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of this video and kind of finish up. So then I would go ahead and I would score, and I would score according to this card. I'm not going to put you through that. But I would then figure out what my score looks like base the end here and see how many suns I get, and then see if I beat my score for the sun standpoint. All right, that's the game. Let me tell you what I think about it. Okay, so solo mode in Harmonies is pretty good. It just basically takes this puzzle and allows you to solve it by yourself. I really do appreciate they give you the sun aspect, because that helps you to decide if you want to play with the nature spirits or not, if you want to play with one side or another, and it kind of normalizes the score, which I think is good. Otherwise, you'd feel like, well, shoot, if I don't play on the best side with the highest scoring potential, and when I don't play with the best spirits, then I'm naturally going to be at a disadvantage. So I think that was wise that they did that. In general, this is a very fun abstract game. I think it's good. I think it's fun to play. The idea of the 3D aspect is cool. The way that you have to choose between the three offers is cool. Nothing in particular is completely unique about the game, but it's just fun to play. And I do like the puzzle aspect of trying to make, first of all, of being able to choose tactically which scoring things I want throughout the game. Instead of other games where it's like, this is what I got at the beginning and I'm just trying to maximize it, here, they come out and you might get lucky on some things. You might decide to prospect, so to speak. Like maybe I'll pick up this one and I could try to build around it. So there's a lot of that noise to keep it from being just completely abstract. And I shouldn't say abstract. Completely solvable, like this is the best solution, so to speak, for this particular one. And that's also why I think they didn't do, and maybe they could have done specific card layouts to try to do different puzzles at the end. And maybe someone will. I'm sure there'll be challenges that are out there. But I think that part of the game is that tactical piece of picking up cards and seeing what you can do with them. So I think that's cool. In general, I think people who like abstract strategy, people who like a game with pretty easy rules but some interesting choices, will like this one. People who say in the reviews that this is a deep, deep game, I don't think so. It's less light than some other games like this. I'm not sure it's deep. It is strategic, it's tactical, so it's a blend of those things. But, you know, the standpoint of, like, I think it just depends on how you kind of push your luck a little bit with it, with the types of draws that come out with the drafting, and how good you are at kind of spatially reasoning this stuff out. For me, that's a lot of fun. I like it. Easily a game you could play while you're sitting there talking to people, you know, or like if, you know, someone's watching TV or you're watching a movie or something like that, you could play this game. And it's just one of those games that's a good card table game to play when you don't want to have a brain buster, and it's very quick. We're talking 15 minutes. There's 15, 20 minutes tops. So that's another thing. You can set it up, you play it, and it takes no time at all to set up. Really, it's just a real quick, get to the table and enjoy it kind of game. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to do in the future, you know I always say, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.